We're ready to roll.
Okay.
The cameras are going anyway, and they just said,
oh my gosh.
it's like, we could have started 10 minutes ago. That was off the record. But thank you for attending. Thank you for joining us. This is, as you can see, the Panther to Predator, where the Atari Jaguar kind of formulated and where it went. And we have OG people from the Lynx era. Not Lynx, sorry. And Lynx as well, too. I was such a big fan of the Atari Lynx personally, so I know these guys mostly for the Lynx, but I mean, the Jaguar is why we're here. I see a Jaguar hat. I see a Jaguar shirt. Does anybody here have a Jaguar tattoo? There's got to be at least one. Anybody? No?
I believe John Hardy does, but he's not here.
Oh.
He was like one of our first super fans. He even visited the offices of the Atari way back in the day, I think around 92 or 93, and we took him on a tour. Like, he showed us his tattoo, and we're like, wow, that's some dedication.
Right.
And, we've kept up with each other probably through the last, 20, 30-ish, some odd years.
Yeah.
But he was definitely the first Jaguar super fan, I think.
Yeah.
That was at the Borregas Avenue one.
Yeah. That was a neck tattoo too. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
It was pretty hardcore. But my name is John Riggs. I'm not. These are the OG guys. These are the crew. I just happen to be here to get these guys to speak on clear terms in the time we're allotted. But if the last panel showed us anything, we can take as much time as we need, I think. So yeah,
exactly.
we're gonna hang out for a while anyway, and I know you got some great questions too, and we'll do those coming up as well. But let's start down the way with we'll start with Mr. Blue Sky here.
Hi, I'm Ted Tahquechi. I worked at Atari since the late 80s up into the mid 90s. Did Lynx, I did Jaguar, 5200, 7800 game. I think there may have even been a 2600 game in there somewhere.
Wow.
I'm Faran Thomason, probably most known for Bubsy. Go out and buy the Bubsy Retro Collection, available now. I don't get any money from it, but I'm on the video, so
it's
show some support.
It is a great collection. It is a great collection.
I was there early 90s, like 92 to 94, 95, something like that. Getting old, losing track of time.
You're too old for this. Yeah. No, we're good. Right when we start is right when the screen goes blank.
Exactly.
Right.
Boom. There we go.
Hey, look at this. I love it.
Who's that guy?
So I'm James Purplehampton, as my friends call me.
Yeah.
I started as a Lynx producer. I worked on things like Gordo 106 and Fat Bobby with Ted and Steve, who's in England joining us from abroad. I also then went on, while starting on a Lynx, which started as a Lynx game, Alien vs. Predator then became the Jaguar game, and I worked on that for 23 and a half months overall, from start to finish.
Good Lord.
Glad to be here, and glad to always just run into folks who say, "Oh, I stayed up all night playing that game." It's like, we stayed up all night making it. So it's good.
At least 220
Right.
nights or something.
Way more than we would like to admit.
Long time.
But it was fun to do. So
Long time.
glad to be
Yeah.
here.
And then there's someone joining us.
Yeah. So this is Steve Mitchell. Can you hear us, Steve?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, look at this.
There he is.
There we go.
Yeah, all the way from
I don't know how this works.
across the pond.
Virtually by voice is fine.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Steve Mitchell, as the lead developer and managing director of Law Games and Law Design, and I worked with these guys developing some of the Lynx titles. And then later on in the Jaguar, I joined on Jaguar CD and managed the Highlander team in the UK, which was in the building behind me about 30 years ago.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you could join us. This is new technology for us, just to at the last minute try to patch things through and get everything going. But to get this panel started here, Panther to Predator. I guess let's start at the beginning. Tell us about the Panther and where that came about.
I arrived at Atari around the time that the Panther was kind of spiraling down and kind of finishing up what would be its very short life. And I would say that there are a whole bunch of different recollections and theories and information about what actually happened with the with the console, and I am going to tell you what I know. And like I said, there's depending on who you're talking to and what mood they're in, they will give you different impressions of it.
It's the Rashomon of failed video game consoles.
It really is kind of wild. So anyway, I came in there at Atari right when they were kind of just getting finished with the development systems. A few development systems did go out to select developers, so there is that. I know that for sure because I talked with Jeff Minter about it last year when we did the Tempest 2000 panel. So yeah, he said he has one, and I've actually talked to a couple of people here who have them. So it was, my understanding is that there was technical issues with the chips, and that was like the main factor for it being canceled. The amount of funding that would have needed to go into retooling those chips, redesigning the software on the chips, meant that they were better off going to the next level, and that was what the Jaguar became.
My goodness.
And I believe that the hardware was designed by Flair, and they were able to, I'm not sure whether they repurposed the chips, but they are credited with design of the Panther chips as well as the Jaguar chips. So there is some transition of like the same team being involved in creating the hardware going from the Panther to the Jaguar. Not sure if that included like the same bugs, but the same people were involved, and obviously the Jaguar was kind of notorious for a few bugs in the chip hardware. Not sure if it's a coincidence or not, but that does kind of bring us to the birth of the Jaguar.
Okay.
There's some early internet prototypes, which some of you hardcore fans might have seen floating around the internet, which we can't confirm or deny of being an actual design. Next slide.
Okay.
And here is the official, I don't know what you want to call it, a eulogy or the execution order from the top guy at Atari.
I like execution order. Yeah.
And that pretty much, unfortunately, spelled the death knell for the Panther. And Purple will give us an interpretive reading of Sam's memo.
Please do.
All right.
This is to confirm the final decision that the Panther project is canceled. Long live the Jaguar. Please, if anyone asks, we canceled due to technical difficulties. Thanks. Regards, Sam Trammell.
We were specifically told not to discuss really any kind of information about the Jaguar, about the Panther. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Panther was way a bit before my time at Atari, so I really have no idea.
And now the statute of limitations are up, so, you know,
At this
demos
point,
like these, fair game, you know, and it's also good for historical purposes to try to put everything into context. In general, the Panther, I think, was probably a little underperforming of where the market needed to be. And by going full-blown 64 bits, the ultimate goal with the Jaguar was to try to leapfrog ahead of the Segas, Nintendos, et ceteras in the market.
right.
There was a lot of speculation whether it was a 16 or a 32-bit. My understanding is that it was a 16-bit system, and like Faran said, the big deal was that they definitely wanted to leapfrog what was going on in the market at the time.
Right.
And weird that they have the speculation whether it was a 16 or 30-bit system. Jaguar had speculation whether it was a 32 or 64-bit system. So you can see some little parallels in the design of both of these system architectures.
Yep.
Yeah. Look at that beaut. Look at that controller.
Yes, indeed.
Now, first impressions when were either of you part of the planning committee for this controller, or they're like, here it is, have fun, figure it out? Now, where did this controller come about? Because it is awkwardly, and for the Jaguar fans, it's awkwardly comfortable. Like when you look at it, you're like, I don't know, man, but I kind of like the form factor to it, but I don't know, were you part of the designing committee on this, or where did this come about?
It may or may not have come from the Falcon design, which we can't confirm or deny.
I mean, when I first arrived, they just kept telling me, well, it's the Falcon controller, so we're going to use it for the Jaguar. And that's like, what's a Falcon? I kept asking.
Yeah.
And they were trying to explain, oh, it's the computer we're working on. And I'm like, well, what does this have to do with the game console we're making? And we would bring them every controller we could grab from home. I remember we would try to keep dragging executives into conference room where we had hooked everything up. It's like, here, put it in your hands. And like the last thing, generally speaking, an executive wants to do is pick up a game controller. It's like, we're at a game company. Come on,
Right.
you know.
I'll put on my business person hat for the moment. One thing about making physical products is that you actually have to cut steel and tool each of the items, and tooling can run hundreds of thousands of dollars. So there probably was a legitimate argument of cutting $150,000 to $200,000 worth of cost just by reusing the tool. And I think that everybody at that time still loved the little numeric keypads on those things because guess what? It gives you more options in game. I'm not sure whether gamers like that, but I believe people in the C-suite thought more buttons, more gameplay.
As a fan of Intellivision and television games, I immediately was like, oh, that was great for the Intellivision.
Yeah, it's a throwback, right?
I remember
With the
somebody
overlays.
saying that more buttons meant
And the
next,
overlays,
next
right?
gen, next level.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Atari had 1 button, NES 2 buttons, and you get to the 6 buttons and 18 buttons, and now you have, good lord, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
And then we had 3 more on the Pro Controller.
That's right.
Now we're true next generation controllers.
It's nothing but buttons.
It will, hopefully, we weren't hoping that people would be like growing other limbs, but we were
Right.
future-proofing in case there was some kind of nuclear apocalypse and people grew extra limbs and they'd be able to press all those buttons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that Starship Enterprise has all those buttons. You're not using them all at the same time, just as needed. All right, what do you got on the next slide there? What else can we, oh boy. Here we go. All right, comparing it to the 3DO, huh? You get a lot of that? Well,
It was sort of helps set the stage about what it was like in the game development community, specifically in that part of the Bay Area where, we were all within, 20, 30 miles of each other's offices. And so when the 3DO started, the rumors, first it's a rumor, Trip Hawkins is going to be building his own console. And that gets the word around, right?
Right.
People start talking about it. And I believe it was the summer of '93. I think I had heard about a developers conference being that was considered they called it an open house at their offices at 3DO.
so how open was this open house? I've heard rumors.
Well,
I've heard stories of certain.
We thought it was very open.
Yeah.
We
Can
invited
you confirm nor deny?
we invited several people from the hardware side of Jaguar development, and we all rolled into different cars and went over to 3DO and joined their developer
So you crashed their
conference.
party, is what you're saying.
Yeah. We got about halfway through the day when suddenly I think someone recognized Leonard Trammell and decided to come over and ask us to leave.
Yeah.
It happens. At least we got free lunch out of it.
Well, I mean,
And in those days, that was important.
But it was also nice from my side too, for our guys to see how another console maker was handling its rollout to other developers and things, and just try to, just get a sense for what we were facing, because in game development, it's not just, yes, we're all going for the same, trying to get the same audience, but it's also the resources and the, what's going to get the buzz as far as the media goes, and what's going to, set up developers to be successful with the console when it comes time to actually do the building of the games. So.
It was definitely interesting experiencing the way that they were interfacing with their developers specifically, and it was
Right.
something none of us had experienced a console rollout before, so it was kind of cool to see it from a different angle.
And they had an open house. They were
Yeah.
actually
Right.
inviting people in, whereas I think we had some kind of like secret decoder ring that if you could decode it, maybe you would be able to work with us. Maybe.
Yeah.
And, I think back to Purple's point was that it was a good way to show, hey, open the doors, bring people in, get everybody outside of the building excited about what you're doing, and, the rising tide will lift all boats.
okay. I
And
love
the
it.
tools, they did have a bunch of
They had the tools.
have the
proprietary,
tools.
software tools that helps the developers, get going on their projects. And, I kept wanting to convince the Jaguar engineers to adopt that side, which they started to.
Yeah.
I mean, ironically, the people that were in charge of the tools on the Jaguar moved to Sony and created probably the world's most successful, first, second, third-party tools development program in probably the history of video games. But so a lot of it was just a company allowing the horses to run free rather than placing, maybe unnecessary constraints on people.
Yeah. And did you ever get any feedback or anything like that for Jaguar going cartridge versus the CD, the birth of the CD-ROM or anything? Was that ever in conversations at all?
This kind of comes to, just, I don't know, with age comes wisdom, 50-50, 20/20 vision with hindsight. There was a rush to get it to be first to market with this new technology.
Right.
And so whatever would make it faster, and the CD-ROM development was taking longer, and
Yeah.
the games would be larger, so it would take longer to build and have a larger lead time, and they really wanted to hit a Christmas audience. And to my own thought, I was like, if they just waited 1 year, perhaps the CD-ROM would have been nearly ready.
Sure.
Or at least have Iron Soldier, AVP, Tempest 2000, all as rollout titles.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
launch titles.
With the launch titles. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But
Cost was definitely there too for CDs because at that time it was $10 a blank disc.
Oh, sure.
So it was
versus
definitely much more
the
expensive.
circuit boards and all that, right?
yeah.
And they definitely wanted to get the cost down, from a cartridge to a CD.
Right.
And obviously at that time, not sure who was alive around then, but CDs were always being pitched as the next big multimedia thing to cram all of the data. You get the FMV, you get more gameplay. So I think they're definitely excited about that fact. But obviously there was just the realities of hardware development, of making these two pieces of hardware work well together. And obviously there were some challenges with that, and maybe even challenges of just keeping the CD part functioning long term.
Yeah. All right. What about our friend who's chiming in from across the seas? Does he have any comments along the way, or anything that he can chime in with as well?
are you with us, Steve? I can't tell.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry to wake you up from your nap there.
You
Just
woken
a
him
Yeah,
lifted
sorry.
voice. I'm sorry.
Voice of God.
Yeah, I keep making eye contact with the people up here. It's like we have a fourth member in our party here. What about your time with Atari during this whole ordeal? Was there any grievances or anything that happened during that you had to really pitch something to happen, or any stories that you can share with us?
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit to the Panther period. When I was a Lynx developer, I was desperate to get onto what they were doing with Panther, but I was told in no uncertain terms, you don't want to go there. And I think this was when they realized they were having problems. So I didn't develop anything between Lynx until the Jaguar CD system came out. And what you were saying earlier about the CD system, the development tools were it was very early. It was like we didn't have working hardware or real development tools to even test with until basically just before we were due to ship. So I think this is part of what they were saying. As you move from the Lynx, which was 16-bit, and now you're hitting 64-bit and a CD mechanism with up to 700 megabytes of memory, Atari moved very quickly from small to big. And I think my experiences are probably similar to the other guys. It's like, you're dealing with 16-bit games, and now suddenly you've got to deliver hundreds of megabytes of content on a platform that technically isn't working yet. So I don't think I was the only one to hit those issues. I think that's quite common for the guys who worked on the CD system. But eventually you get the games to work, and they did ship, probably not when they wanted them to ship, right?
Right.
So these are some pictures of Steve's development studio back in the day, back in the UK.
Okay. Oh, very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the Highlander crew set up in Bromborough, was it, Steve?
Yeah, that's. Have you got the whole team there?
Yeah. We're at some of the wider office shots. Sorry.
Yeah. Kind of a crammed studio, right? Just
All right. And
That
like
is like
everyone's
the OG 90s video game
right,
studio.
shoulder to shoulder,
Yeah.
Yeah,
giant
some
CRT
boxes.
monitors
Yeah.
stacked up
Hey,
and ready to go.
That's James just there, above my shoulder. Can you see that?
Oh, in the back there. Yeah.
I think I'm back there in the back row somewhere.
Oh, I see.
All right. Oh, here we go.
And
There's-
these were the guys working on the Highlander CD project for PC and for Jaguar.
And one of the unique things about Highlander, of course, was the fact that it was one of the first motion captured games.
That's right.
Oh.
We had gotten a demonstration of the technology. Was it a CES, or I think it was perhaps a CES in
SIGGRAPH.
Chicago, or SIGGRAPH, right? It was a company out of Santa Rosa, California, which was on like the North Bay from where Atari was, and we had played Virtual Fighter and were huge fans of Alone in the Dark.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
And could see the potential as a way to show off the graphic capabilities and really what the CD advantage was going to be. And at a time, people like Sam Trammell shared our vision and was willing to understand that in addition to having the cutting edge hardware, you needed cutting edge software development as part of it. And so using things like motion capture and setting up perhaps one of the first gaming motion capture labs in the UK, became, it's like it was our way to contribute to sort of keep moving things forward and find that next big thing.
My goodness.
I mean, and that is one of the things about Atari. Once the Trammels once you could explain to them a vision for the future, they were definitely willing to hop on board to a certain extent. I mean, that's how we got the Black Ice, White Noise. That's how we got the Highlander, is that they're like, oh, okay, we can see the potential of how we can make some innovative games that maybe our competitors aren't doing. So, in all fairness, we do want to give them credit for a lot of times being able to see that future and then empower us to try to make interesting and cool stuff.
I love it. Oh, there's something you don't see too often, right?
Exactly. So they were always definitely one to try to push the envelope. I'm not going to say that virtual reality was in its infancy in the mid-90s, but obviously you had like the Geron Laniers, and you had this whole cyberpunk scene in San Francisco. So I'm not sure the age of a lot of people, but virtual reality was kind of a thing. There was like the BattleTech simulators, the virtual reality, and we thought we could actually achieve that level of performance on the Jaguar. Might have made a few people nauseous, but
Nintendo
B
had
plus for effort.
The Nintendo were closer to releasing their public available version of VR as well, and it was on everyone's mind at the time. And I mean, when I first started as a game tester at Lucasfilm, one of my first assignments was to work the booth showing off Faceball 2002.
Right. Yep.
The people at what was called an event called Cyberthon, which was a 24-hour virtual reality conference held in Colossal Pictures Studio with like giant helmets and power gloves that were attached to, several banks of computers to sort of get things going. But it was like that dawn of fumbling around early technology and seeing how it goes with two people holding up your helmets.
Yeah, I mean, virtual. I mean, even though it probably is not necessarily even a thing today, everybody's been trying to chip away at it and find a solution. Even in the 90s, where you didn't have any texture mapping, but people could still see that vision and still kind of see that cyberpunk vision, and people were really into it. I mean, there was obviously Virtuality was a commercial release. The BattleTech tanks were commercial releases, so there was something going on.
And if you ever played Gran Turismo 7, you know what I'm talking about, like just on how far it has gone.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
I
incredible.
mean, it took 30 some odd years to get like a decent level of fidelity. But even when I was at MGA, coming to our Toys to Life talk at 5, we experimented with some proto virtual reality headsets that kind of looked like the one in the picture, but it was all segmented LCD graphics. So every so many years, the business people and the marketers thought that virtual reality was ripe for exploitation. I mean, I'm a fan. I've got my MetaQuest, but to be perfectly honest, it probably still is not ready for prime time.
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
Yeah, there's it's getting there.
Yeah.
Very good.
Let's see, what's that?
I can't quite tell what this is from my angle.
That was just
it's just more
more
the
of the virtual
VR,
reality
yeah.
kit that they had. And
Dead
this
cat
is
bouncer.
probably, the end of the Jaguar. At some point, the assets were sold to a company called JTS, and that goes back to your question about the liquidation of all the stock. I think they just wanted to get rid of it, sold it to various people that would blow it out. So at that time, if you were a fan, you could probably get all the games for pennies on the dollar, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Life after
But there is life after death.
There is.
So,
And I think that's one of the interesting things about the whole Jaguar story is that, going back to our example of 3DO, there's very little remnants of 3DO in pop culture history post 3DO.
right.
I guess Gex might have gotten a few more shots,
Yep.
but the Jaguar somehow has still lived on. Everybody knows about the little infamous dental tool where I guess probably in the JTS era they had the tool and a dentist needed a free tool to put their dental contraption in. And then obviously the Atari 50 features a great Jaguar emulator, so if people don't want to spend the $500 on a Jaguar, go check out Atari 50 and you can play a pretty cool selection of games.
Yeah.
We've got Cybermorph on it,
Yeah.
Infamous Club Drive, Tempest.
Yep.
And most recently, I'll plug Bubsy again. Check
As
out
you should.
the Bubsy collection.
Yeah.
It features the Jaguar version of Bubsy. And then there are a lot of people still doing homebrews, and a lot of it is porting over Atari ST software to the Jag, but there are a few original titles out there. So the Jaguar still has a following some 20, 30 odd years later.
See, there you go.
That's awesome.
No one else is doing. I don't hear anyone doing homebrews or indie games for 3DO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
There was never a 3DO fest, was there?
I'm sure there was one.
Well, maybe there was, yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Some church basement
Trip
somewhere.
Hawkins has,
Trip-
like, I can throw my
Yeah.
own damn 3D.
If he wants, you know what?
If he wanted
If
to.
Trip wants to do one on his yacht, that's fine.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right. I'm waiting for the invite.
but yeah. Well, that's not going to be open house.
And as a $700 console, their audience,
Yeah.
Right.
was smaller, right?
For edutainment.
Not as
Sure.
many people could afford it. So.
I mean,
wouldn't
their
be thrown out
console costs, $700. Then ours is like $700 now.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at
They
it.
launched at 700.
They launched at 700.
They launched at 700.
1994 money.
It was
right?
yeah, it's 700 then. So that's probably 4 digits today.
Exactly.
Yeah. There you go.
Not even a sale on the yacht.
Yeah. This the old headquarters here.
So this is the old Atari HQ. Has anybody actually ventured out there? Oh,
Wow.
see?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a Google building
Yeah,
now.
it's a Google building.
Not
Is
as
it?
much fun.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
the
too
big
bad.
thing about the design of this building, and is that on the upper level, there's all the windows that sort of
went
and
out.
They leaned outwards.
Yep.
Oh.
So it was kind of like this weird overview.
Okay.
It was
But
really
it meant
cool.
that it was actually,
Yeah.
I could see, it was like 70s design in action, right? Like, we're going to combine a lot of concrete, but with this funky design.
All right. Is this in California? Or
It
this-
is.
Sunnyvale, just down
Sunnyvale,
from
okay.
Moffett Field. So we'd always see those, the giant, like, Air Force airplanes doing their
Oh,
circling
my
around.
goodness.
And it was so counter to what game design companies are now. I mean,
Right.
now they're all super bright and white and everything like that. And
Sure.
then it was very dark and dingy with gray carpet and gray on the walls. And
Wow.
It was just, like boxes underneath the stairwells and that kind of stuff. It was very cool, but it was very bizarre.
Yeah. It's a different time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
A
it's like-
cube farm out of
Yep.
control.
Yes,
Yeah. Look, who's this young guy?
I don't even know.
For years, Faran didn't age a day.
Yeah,
never did.
Now,
Yeah.
now the Midorian Gray picture, has been unearthed.
Yeah. It's the cover of GQ magazine, I think. I saw that there.
This is the view from my office, actually.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Faran coming to my door.
And I think we have that picture that's on the door in the booth.
That's right. We adapted a Jasper Johns flag and put Atari Fuji's into this and replacing the stars as a "we're back," Atari pitch that we were trying to get going. But
I love it.
Speaking of infamous games, we tried to get a adaptation of Mind Ripper, which was like Wes Craven produced. The whole goal was to kind of repeat that Alien versus Predator vibe, where you could play the hero or the monster. Never really got out of the starting gates, but I did get to meet Lance Henriksen.
There's that.
this is the lobby. Was this our front lobby, or is this the side?
Not sure.
Well, that wood paneling tells me everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Classic.
But this is the view of the development area. So these are a bunch of slides from, as you just walk the halls going from, one meeting with one person or talking with another, you just there was Jag stuff and personal expression everywhere, right? Like,
The artists were
geodesic
fans
domes.
of Buckminster Fuller, so they were literally trying to redesign geodesic domes every week. I think out of straws and ketchup packets from McDonald's.
Keeps things interesting.
The art department did get, they wanted to do some of the pre-rendered material with a Silicon Graphics workstation. So one was set up and artists could schedule time to do some work on that, which was, again, part of that forward thinkingness. The event, Atari did understand that it had to kind of invest in their team and giving them the tools they needed. One of the sound rooms, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Music studio.
Music studio, yeah. All those MIDI keyboards.
Right.
And we did a lot of they weren't official focus groups as much as getting people who had never seen the game before to take a controller and see what they do.
Right.
I mean, as a game developer, perhaps that's one of the most important parts of getting it right. Because like if a player can't figure out what you're looking for, you failed as a maker, not them, right? Like it's one of those, and it's, you know, as a person who spends every waking moment playing or, you know, messing with the game, you always just assume you know, you can't make the assumption that everyone knows what you know. And so we always try to keep a bunch of people in the building like blind to the experience. And when it came time for a beta build, oh, could you try this out? Right?
Especially with user interface type interactions.
Very good.
The great late Lance Lewis and his cube.
Yes, the tester cubes were just infamous for a whole lot of stuff going on.
Everything.
And by today's standards, like huge, you know, human resources violations. But back
Okay.
in the day, it was, you know, snap-on calendar tool time.
And so, and even just the short version of his, you know, he's the name of the Colonial Marine in Alien versus Predator, even though the photo is of Sean Patton, who had all the Colonial Marine gear, and he became the producer of Iron Soldier. But
Yeah, Sean was into like cosplay and like recreating like armor and stuff before it was cool. Like
he had made
now
all the-
everybody does it.
Like
But
resin and vacuum forming and all kinds of like crazy stuff to make the.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had his own pulse rifle, all the gear like, from
Wow.
the original.
Before it was even
Aliens.
called cosplay
And-
back
oh, yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And Lance was a playtester who became one of our many the level designers, where again Atari allowed us to kind of grow them up into to do the full level design for Alien versus Predator, and we worked a bunch of times together later on. But
Nice.
fortunately, Lance is no longer.
Okay. Yeah. We got about 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Questions?
Do you want to do questions?
Yep.
Yeah,
let's go with questions.
Yeah, which we can do some questions here. Anybody? There's got to be questions here. Raise a hand. Let's go right here. Go for it.
Yeah, can you think of one or two things that maybe Atari might have done different in that era to help the Jaguar succeed more?
More licensed titles.
Okay.
Leaning more into Madden and Mortal Kombat and those sort of things that players really wanted on the platform.
We did get Mortal Kombat 3, however, it was probably too little too late.
Right.
So, and in some of these deals that we got for, say, like a Mortal Kombat, we licensed part of it from Acclaim, then we would have to go back to Midway and license other aspects. Like, in theory, both of them were on board, but it increased the amount of approvals. It doubled that amount of time to get approvals, to get resources, et cetera. And that was similar to what happened with NBA. I mean, NBA Jam came out great, but we had to like go through like multiple different parties, Acclaim, Midway, NBA, and miraculously, I think because of the proximity of the developer to Midway, it definitely smoothed out the development cycle on that, but almost all those other games were just like nightmarish in terms of approvals.
That adds a lot of time to development time, for sure.
And time is the essential element. If the wish list is always the same, more time, please.
Right.
Right? Like, don't try to cram things out. But yeah.
That's right. Yeah, go for it. Right here.
Can you just talk a little bit about the technical architecture? Because on the one hand, I know people criticize like whether it really was 64-bit, but then on the other, like I've recently been discovering the system, and a lot of the games like Cybermorph, like they're really impressive. Like you could never have done that on Super Nintendo or the other competitors at the time. So like what were the system's strengths and weaknesses technically in your opinion?
Are you still there, Steve?
I'm still there, but I can't hear the audience.
The question, Steve, was just like the pros and cons of development, or what was?
Yeah, the technical aspects.
The
of
technical
it.
aspects, yeah.
On the Jaguar?
Exactly.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that the Jaguar, when it was the cartridge-based game, it was much more straightforward to develop. So, you know, my experience is more with the new CD system that they were releasing right at the end. But I think this is always from the development side, it makes a huge difference if you've got mature hardware and tools. Because they were in such a rush, the console was kind of handed out to developers, and that aspect hadn't happened for the CD system or really the cartridge system. So the others can speak to this, but essentially different developers were making different sets of tools rather than having something kind of ready to go to help you immediately get started, which on the Lynx, it came with an excellent set of tools on day one and examples, and you were able to get up and running. So, but again, this is all, it's higher technology. It's 64 bits in some elements of it. So developing that technology is more difficult, just exponentially.
Very good. Thank you. With that, we're getting the cut sign, so that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for attending. This is fantastic.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and here are a few more videos for you to check out.